join, but
Yeah, we'll give everybody just an option.
I feel that like at the end of this retrograde, everyone's experiencing all of these physical ailments. Like I have, this one thing going on, but like the side of my foot, the muscles down the outside edge of my foot are like I can't walk on a flat foot. It hurts really bad. Like
Oh my gosh.
at work I have to walk on it somewhat normally, but I'm kind of limping. And then around my house, like I walk with it like pointed, like one leg is it looks so crazy.
Oh no.
That's very bizarre.
Ouch.
One of the things that happened to me during this like last week, which I thought was really curious, is this marbling. So it's like this dull pain and this marbling of veins going up my entire calf. And it's like it hurts. It's the strangest thing. And you can see like, I don't know, I feel like there's a bunch of blood contracts and blood miasma, just a lot of toxicity that is like purging from planet. And I just feel like that's what's pushing through my body. I can't think of anything else that it is or any other reason why it would be doing this. So I've just went ahead and chalked it up to, purging of blood stuff and like almost like the end of like detaching from like moon lineages and cycles. Like my menses happened during this entire time, and it was like different than any other menses, super short this time. So and I spend all my time saying, I'm not giving any piece of myself. I am not participating in blood sacrifice. I'm not participating in blood covenants. I'm not participating in blood anything. You don't get it. It's not yours, right? And so, I don't know. I think that this is part of it. I think it's part of, what's going on with all of that stuff. So I feel grateful to have purged it. And I think that this whole retrograde, I mean, you guys know more. I should know a lot about retrogrades, but I don't. I know that normally I feel like I'm okay. And this one just kind of like knocked me down sick and rolled me around and tumbled me about. And just like,
yeah, it started out pretty rough for myself as well. It seems to have smoothed out quite a bit the more self-care that I've done this time. And just really being more calm, just because I know the energies can be really intense, because there's some nights it just feels physically just overwhelming. And then I'm thinking, okay, maybe I should ground. And so I've been doing actually a lot of baths with Himalayan salt in it.
Beautiful.
And then just soaking for like an hour, literally just an hour in the tub. And then I've been putting like a full pot of heavy coffee, dark coffee in it too, just to help pull toxins out.
So I love the whole idea. I love the whole concept of like baths. And I tell people, I tell my students and my clients, I'm like, take a bath, put the salts in there, do the things. But then when I think about it, I'm like, ew, I don't want to lay in my own shit.
You gotta take a shower first. I'll like shower first. And then, or I just think about it, like the way I think about it, as long as I don't feel super gross, like I have a detachable shower head. So like I'll take the bath, and then if I really feel that I need to, I'll like rinse off all the bath drains.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just like it used
if I'm really gross, definitely showers. Yeah, you gotta watch the growth.
But I do like to soak everything.
Where you were
afterwards.
Right.
Okay, bye, buddy. Come on. No, you can't. You're too
I think, Amaria, I think we're on a little bit of a delay.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. It's okay. Just
Cindy
so because
is listening. So much, beautiful.
I know. Cindy said, Amaria, you're really kicking life's ass lately. I'm going to totally agree with that. I feel like you're.
It's funny, just it just feels more relaxed. I mean, I've busted through a lot of stuff just with my SSP family. Reading Stuart's word, 13 cubes. Wow. I'm just a little over halfway because sometimes I just really have to set it down and process
Yeah.
because there's a lot of SRA stuff coming out lately. And it's a very emotional subject for me.
Yeah.
My dad talked to me a little bit about it, and we've been talking about what we went through in the Mormon church and the we moved that, and some of the sessions I've been doing, it's interesting. There's been a lot of people that have reached out that watch the SSP shows that have called and have done sessions with very similar energies. And so for me, this retrograde has been
Oh, gosh, darn it.
Cut out. I was like, she's thinking
Amaria,
so hard.
you have like no signal. And so, and I'm just like, I'm waiting for all the juicy pieces to hear about SRA and SSP. And I'm just like, and then we can't hear you. And I'm like, boo. I do want to say that our Miss April Moon, who is our Wolf and Dragon apothecary gal, April, she is with us tonight. And I'm so excited about that because we're going to have her on the show at some point. So this is very cool. What did you watch, Cindy? You watched a show with 2 other women. Are you cheating on us? Is that what's going on? She is. Oh, that's too funny. I want to touch a little bit on the as you're coming in and out, Amaria. I have seen in clients lately, so doing field work, tons of SSP stuff. You know what I'm seeing a lot that is like expressing itself not only in my dream time, but in field work is MK Ultra is literally coming to the surface. It's like it can't hide anymore. I'm like, oh, I don't have to go hunt you down and find you. It's actually, why is it presenting now? Did the retrograde help undo this? Is it because the Rishi is here and, you know, we have another harmonic? So is it because we get to come from a higher space and look down and see what's happening? I feel like so much of this is so much of the matrix is breaking down, and I love this. But like, what do either of you like put it to any one thing or a couple of things that you've noticed?
I think it could be a mixture of a lot of those things. As we've been doing the alchemical work, the shadow work, and I feel like a lot of us are combining those missions, doing shadow work together. That's helping with those trauma, or family histories, or just patterns that we've had that have been unhealthy all our lives, and finally choosing to say, you know, this really isn't serving me. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Making those conscious with love and not being, you know, an ass about things, just saying this is what it is. I'm acknowledging it, and there might be some emotional trauma or pain a little bit that I got to work through, and that's okay. Just acknowledging with compassionate witness, moving through it, just moving on.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's not easy, but when you start doing it, the flow gets a little easier as you go, and with time, it definitely makes it easier.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed a lot of really weird stuff. One of them being I've noticed that my birthmark is showing more.
Oh,
and I don't know how much of it's just like what my body was going through before this retrograde. But it's usually, I know my mom would always say, like, as a kid, it was in times of like stress or when I was sick. So it could just be because my body is going through a lot right now. But I haven't seen it up here as much. Like usually when it comes around, it's like this, because it's kind of like a red splotch right here. And so usually it's just kind of like right here, and it's not something that most people would notice. But I can see it on the camera, like the top parts there. It's interesting. I haven't seen it in so long. But
I have, all of my kids have the stork's bite. That's interesting.
It's interesting what I've been seeing during this retrograde. So like I don't even know where to start. Do I want to talk about dreams first or communication or the physical ailments? So I'm going to start with communication and then I'll go into dreams and then physical ailments. I feel like that's like the proper like escalation of crazy.
Mhm.
So with the communication,
She's on a delay. It's hysterical.
Cindy just asked, are birthmarks past life related? I remember reading that birthmarks are sort of, a trauma from like the way you died in your past life. And I, long story short, like feel like this could have been, it was interesting because when I was born, if I say interesting one more time tonight, like I'm getting fed up with how much I'm using that word.
You're tired of yourself.
My mom said that when I was born, it came down onto my nose and on down to my ears, like it was coming down from my head. So I feel like, like it would obviously be like blood or something. So, I mean, it's not that far in the realm of possibilities that would be related to a past life death. Oh my gosh, my cat is trying so hard to come be a part of this, but he's way too loud. So, okay, so communication stuff. So communication, this retrograde has been so interesting. Just like with my partner, it's created such opportunities for us to look at what needs to be healed and then actually healing it. And so for the first time in my life, I'm really experiencing, like no alien love bite, no, negative influence at all in my relationships. There's no handling, there's nothing like that. And so it's just like, so crazy to have something become positive and productive. It's so great. Like I love it so much. It still kind of sucks, like the digging that stuff up doesn't always doesn't feel good. Well, I don't know when it does. It's not fun, right? But then it's like, oh, look at all these cool things we can work on, and like we're just building something together. So I've noticed that because it's like so beautiful when it's like a partnership. It's not just me, it's like both of us doing these things together. It's like we can learn the two lessons go hand in hand instead of like two lessons clashing, which I feel like what I was really used to. This one, it's sort of like there's a connection and a true partnership there, which is
beautiful.
awesome. So moving on to dreams, so much in like the negative realms, I don't know if just astral realms is enough for it, but I actually had a client the other day, so one of my good friends, and she was telling me of this dream she had where she had a dog, and she was like, but it was like a baby, and she was treating it like a baby, and she was trying to get this dog out of this place because she started seeing maggots all over her. And the partner she had, like he didn't really have any maggots, and so she started getting suspicious of why he didn't have any, and she's suddenly infested, and then the dog turns into an actual baby, and she's trying to save their baby, and he like doesn't care, right? And so it was so crazy she brought that up in our session, because I said, what I've learned from you and just what I've experienced myself, this cat, he's really trying today. What I've experienced myself is that, when you're sort of on these missions and you're rescuing, all that icky stuff just shows you where you're at. So you see the bugs, you see the maggots. We've talked so much at length about the bathrooms, right? And so I told her all about that too, where it's like so weird that the bathrooms turn into, like say you'll go into a bathroom and there's only a couple stalls and they're all gross, but suddenly it turns into like this huge socialized like
it always is a social
I
event,
know, right?
Right. And I'm like, why are we
weird.
hanging out by all these clogged, disgusting toilets? Like, ew, you guys are gross.
You're letting go a lot of shit.
I'm gonna tell you. I got to tell you mine when you're done.
Okay. So I was explaining to her, I think that with, the Baphomet fields and things like that, it's like, she said, because when she first brought it up, she said, I had my first real dream in a while. It wasn't the astral realm. I wasn't astral projecting. And so I said, first of all, you're never dreaming. Like, like especially not someone like her. I said, when we're going that far down, we have to limit our consciousness so much so that, we don't attract that. It feels more like a dream because we don't have that lucid level of control that we might have in the other realms that we travel to that are like more positive. So, you don't, it feels more like a dream because it's pre-programmed, because it has to be for the, purpose and intention of that mission. And so I was saying I had this one where, I have 2 pet mice in real life, and I had my 2 mice, and then like more and more mice just kept getting added to this tank I had. And they were like being deformed, and like one was they were growing all these like ulcers and tumors, and they were they were in so much pain, and I was trying to get them out of there. It was so bizarre. But like we're just experiencing all these physical symptoms too, like my body is just
Exhausted, right?
exhausted, and everything's sort of out of whack, and then like my cat's like his energy's been so off, and so he's been over grooming, and like he has these hair loss patches, and I think we got him to we got him distracted enough with a new routine that's going to correct itself. But then I noticed my mouse did it, but my mouse like ripped his skin off in parts of it, and it was so weird because it's like a very surgical site, because I talked to the vet, and it's like it's not mites because it's not affecting anywhere else on him. We think maybe it was triggered by like a food I was feeding him, so we switched the food. But it's just so weird that this like weird hair loss is a pattern in my household right now with my animals, because the other mouse is fine, but I'm just now stopping losing my hair from COVID. And so it's so weird, and it's I don't know what's going on, but I feel like with whatever this shift was, because I feel that something is just about to happen at the on the other side of this.
Yeah.
But I think maybe there's a lot of like physical stuff that's being burned and released out of the body, and it's coming out in like these really
crazy ways.
yeah
Lots of lung issues, which
Yeah.
is not surprising, right? People are getting a lot of burning in their lungs. Violet and I, our gums were swollen and bleeding. Like she had canker sores all inside her mouth. This is for no reason. This is like for no reason at all. It just is like all of a sudden part of some type of viral purge that's happening. But speaking of dream time, this is so crazy because this is so crazy. So I was undercover, right? Undercover. I'm on this mission, and I get let into this room, and it's a big like cafeteria. And when I look up, the cafeteria is like full. It's completely full. But then I get taken to a separate table by myself, and this woman, I can hear her thinking. She's like, "We don't want her to mingle with people." And so I was like thinking to myself, well, I wonder if they had found me out. But anyway, I'd sat down at this table, and I looked over and I saw a woman like with her face down, and she was sitting by herself. So I went over to go sit with her. And then when I went to go sit with her, all of a sudden there was a man and a child sitting there, which I thought, oh, that's weird. I didn't know she was sitting with anyone. So I said to her, I'm sorry, I thought you were by yourself. And she got up and like stood up onto the bench thing and then onto the table and like ran off. It was so strange. And then all of a sudden I went straight to the bathrooms, straight to the dirty bathrooms. And there were people waiting outside the stall. And I was trying to urinate standing up, like in a toilet. And this is so terrible. My lower extremities were trying in the dream to turn into male extremities. And I literally had to say, absolutely not. And they're like, you have to go to the bathroom like this. I kept hearing this pressure in my head, like you have to urinate standing up and this has to happen. And I was like, absolutely not. I would not let them transform me. And I managed to urinate without anything transforming, and they were like not happy, but I felt like this really grand excitement, right? And then I came out of the stalls and these girls were all there dressed in fancy dresses, and then it turned into a social. And I was like, what? And then we walked into a room, and you're going to love this, Amaria. It turned into, I saw the flash of the matrix of the black and white. And I was like, son of a bitch, what am I not supposed to see? Right? Because I saw it that fast. And I was like, oh, and then I couldn't find it again. And I thought, gosh darn it, what are they programming here? My mission was to find the program and take it down, but I only saw it for a quick second. And then I was like, I'm out of here. Like I woke myself up because I was like not going to play their games. Like, sorry, I didn't grow a penis in the Baphomet fields for you. But,
Right. A lot of I've had the bathroom dreams where it's usually like almost like a maze of toilets.
Yes.
That you have to get through, and it's always gross like that, where there's like toilet paper and shit, and I mean it's just disgusting, clogged toilets overflowing. And it's funny because I've had similar where I feel like I have to squat, and so I'm like trying to stand up and try. You come out of the bathroom or come out of the stall, and then there's a lot of women there talking at the sink trying to wash their hands, and the sink's disgusting and they can't find any soap. And so those are really, really weird.
What is that about? And that goes
but I've
right
had
into
a lot of, well, and I think a lot of what I was reading on dream therapy, usually bathrooms, it has to do with expelling stuff. And when there's like clogged toilets and just shit everywhere, it's self-expression, or there's things that are just backed up that we're trying to get rid of. We want to clean it out. And so I had one of those bathroom dreams. It's kind of funny, but I went through and I became a plumber and I fixed all the toilets. And then I took a fire hydrant hose and just showered the shit out of it, scraped it all out, and then took it outside and had like a big this big sewage truck, and then hauled it away. And it's funny, I've never had another dream like that. It's probably been 3-4 years since I've had a bathroom dream.
Wow.
But the ones I've been having lately are weird, because like right now I'm hurting still from you're
cutting out. Hold on.
Right side. And
hold on, you're cutting out. Nobody can. We know what happened, but nobody else does. So just hold on a sec for your signal to come back. April is saying use the Orion codes for coding. It helps. So I think she's saying if we're going to decode something, to use the Orion codes, it'll show you where the coding is and also lead you to who is coding. Bless you, April. I cannot wait to have you on the show.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah, that is a great idea. I never would have thought of that. I
think with the reason that we see these things the way that we do, I was trying to explain it to someone, but it no matter sort of where we're at in our ascension, we're still in a human body with a human brain and human enough energetic template that we have to process these, like obviously in the astral realm, it doesn't look like a toilet, whatever this thing is that we're encountering. It's not this giant, disgusting party bathroom. But that is the way that our human brain says, okay, we have to feed this information to them this way. So it's just sort of whatever we're perceiving, right? And then that's the easiest way. And also, I think one time, I know I've shared this dream, but I don't know if I shared this aspect of it, where I was doing the rescue mission, and before I got to the people that I was rescuing, they were taking me through, it was almost like an apartment complex, and they're taking me through all these different levels, and they wanted me to see, like, so gross, but it was like, it was supposed to be, what was presented to me was like a gay couple and their adopted son, and look how happy they are, they're watching cartoons with him. And then they took me to a different room and they'd show me like all these different things. And when I woke up and left the dream, I realized like the veil was lifted from that consciousness that I had sort of submerged myself down to, so that I was able to do that. And I realized like they weren't his parents, and it wasn't like a gay couple, it was a child that had been abducted, and there was just like everything was just off a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, it's so gross how they do that. Let's see, Amaria, if your signal is better, because I
Yeah.
want people to hear your what you just went through.
I think it's because of what I think it's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So making a statement really quick, I have a right to speak. So whoever is trying to interfere, you need to stop. You need to cease this. I do not have a contract with you. I am Goddess Sovereign Free. I am the cosmic sovereign law made manifest, and I have a right to speak. So my son and I both actually believe that we were abducted again. We both have a slit that's cut surgically in our nose, just like perfectly, like something was inserted up into the nasal cavity, up into the eye. And I had a lot of pain in my head. He was having similar things. There's no reason we should even have these marks
Mhm.
except for that. And having been an experiencer of abductions all my life, you know, I'm just going to say that it's a very big plausibility. The dreams that I've been having again are the underground. It's like an altar where we're basically being forced to do sex magic with people around us. And a lot of it's like going back into the dreams or whatever they are. I'm working on forgiveness, not just with those that are, you know, doing things that are have done things to anybody that's gone through any kind of SRA, but looking at myself in the mirrors that I have. It's funny, I have mirrors all over my house because I am a monarch experience. I don't call it I'm not a victim. I'm an experiencer, and I know that a lot of it has to do with the looking glass technology, the White Rabbit, Alice in Wonderland, part of the Monarch program called Tinkerbell,
Yeah.
where basically they keep us feeling and acting younger than we really are, which is a lot of now understanding it, why I've had issues with understanding certain things, which I'm working on breaking through by actually studying of religion and NLP and psychology, just because learning how, you know, the functions of an inside tangent. But I've noticed, even though this stuff is happening, dissolving away, like that saying, you know, like what you were talking about, Chas, earlier, about it's almost like heat, the air that's happening. A lot of people have been talking about bloodiness. One, for my son and I, it started just with the right side where it was, you know, draining. It did it for about 48 hours where it was just constant nosebleeds. And it stopped. Headaches have been ish back and forth, but I've noticed today focusing on whatever was put in there, just dissolving it and breaking it down and just destroying it. Like, this is not mine. I did not consent to this. And so, you know, we literally can control the matrix
Oh yeah.
because of, you know, the genetics that we have, the codes that we're able to do. Finally dissolved it because now there's chunks of things coming out of both nostrils, just blood, and it burns up inside. And so I'm gonna do another nasal rinse with some colloidal silver. So, you know, for me, it's been this Mercury retrograde hitting health and child. And we didn't do the show last week. I'll talk about there's a session that I did with a friend that this inner child aspect of myself, sorry about eyelash, was trapped for well over a year in this dark room. And it happened to be with the alien love bite that I had had. It was around September 18th. And this guy like we were doing this telepathy thing, and all of a sudden I was in this room. It was black. There was a little mirror in a floor, and I was naked. I was 7 years old, and there was creature in the room right after me. And I kept trying to get out of the mirror, and I would bust through. And Jamie is the little girl that's coming through. That's my first name. My inner standing there looking at myself, trying to pull myself through. And then I ended up getting sucked back in. And as the child, I was angry. So I'm like, why are you helping me? On the mirror and flipping myself off, cussing at Maria, I hate you and all this stuff. Fuck you, you're horrible. And so I decided to start just sitting next to the mirror in the myself and just talking and listening and saying, how do you really feel, Jamie? You've never really been hurt, have you? And just kind of talking to me like that, like this child, like, I'm here for you. If not, I'm still right here, and I'm just going to wait for you when you're ready. And so I was doing that for about 3 weeks. And then I went and I did this session with this friend, and it was interesting. We were listening to Lisa Renee's meditation on removing the buffer, that's reptilian tail, the sex trauma stuff, which I hadn't listened to since September. But I'm listening to this and I'm doing energy, and all of a sudden I bilocate back to this vision or this dream or whatever it is, and the room, like the water drains, it gets dry, the chair disappears, the beast or whatever it is disappears, and the light comes on. The room is white. The mirror shatters, and then a doorway opens, and it's like an arched doorway. It's open. There's nothing hindering. I could go through any time. And I look at myself, and I'm an adult. Jamie is fully grown, wearing a white robe, and I step through and I look at Amaria standing there, and we're facing each other. Both look the same age, both wearing that same robe, and I just embrace each other and become one. It was just like the most healing. Had issues with the Arabian black heart. Basically, the heart being like a black hole, which of course a lot of people that go through trauma, like I've been through electroshock and waterboarding and different things. Anyway, sex traumas, a lot of different traumas. Drinking adrenochrome. So anyway, all of that stuff, it's like it just was washed away. And it's easy to think how just little things like that, just changing the way a visual is in your mind or a dream. And that was so impactful, because there was a part of me that felt so trapped. And then figuring out the red Saturnian cube on different types of control, the love bites and different things, how relaxed and calm, like we keep going back into these. That's why I love doing dream work, just really going in and reframing that. And so that for me has been the biggest thing, is really those childhood trauma fragments pulled back together and just really dissecting as traumatic as some of these, memories, or whether it's a hologram, actual, or what. I don't care what it is. I'm going to look at it and acknowledge it and just say, okay, this is where I'm at now. That's whether it's in the past or not, it's in front of me. I'm just going to acknowledge it and figure out what I can do to shift it. So that for me has been the biggest healing through this retrograde.
Wow.
Just being able to feel within myself, no matter what I have been forced to do or experience against my will, I'm heard. And myself, and it just really makes me think of those that have got through similar worse things. More I love those people. If you've gone through traumas like that, you can overcome those things. It's not always easy to face,
Yeah.
but you can.
Yeah.
You can, and you are so worth it. That's my fault.
Thank you for sharing that, Amaria. We have so much in common. I want to make a connection with you that you and I have never discussed before. And this just touches me so much. That white room, I have a white room, and I was in it as a small child. I always was in this white room, and the only thing in it was a black wooden chair. And like that was
Wow.
it. It was a white room with a black wooden chair. And I don't remember the abuses that, like, I can't remember if I was sent away from my babysitter or if my babysitter was part of the whole process. But, I also remember wandering around school, coming back home with like bloody underwear and taking them off, being, 5 years old, 6 years old, taking them off to throw them away so my mom wouldn't find them. But not having a memory of, where was I? I've been in the middle of the streets before, gone. My parents had to go and find me. So I'm like, we have a common thread. We have not that it's a beautiful common thread, right? But I'm like, my heart, I'm feeling you. I completely feel you. And you can overcome these things. And it's about going back and witnessing. And you do get to control what happens and how you heal from this. And you can bust out
Absolutely.
of the rooms. You can bust out of the mental prison that they create, right? And they think we're not going to find our way out of the maze. And guess what? Yes, we are. And yes, we can. And yes, we have. And here we
Yes.
come. So, it's
Westworld.
is it
Yes.
it's
Yes, ma'am.
you guys, this man contacted me, and I literally was brought to tears. And like after I read something from him, I I literally, like, my whole body felt different. And after I read what he wrote to me and the connection that was made without ever, like, making actual contact with this person, I wrote, "He speaks as I speak, for it is amidst the darkness we see the light. For my brother to come out of the depths of the forest and offer his hand in the time of deep awareness of Yeshua has sprung forth a fountain that desires to share the truth. The need to transmute the pain and elevate our men lifts me to frequencies higher than I have experienced before. I wish to recall in full my Sophianic self and remember the wisdom of love and sacred sexuality that pulses through my soul, spirit, and monadic self." And it goes on into children and winds and crying and stuff. But you guys, we're making change. We're breaking through what they thought we would never break through, right? Like,
Right.
and
Right.
bless Sophia, bless the Solar Rishi for being here and connecting with us, and for us doing the work, for each and every one of us doing the work to allow this process to happen, right? Like we're templating this for humanity. We're templating this for our future, for our children, for our brothers and sisters. And, and just because not everybody is experiencing this, everybody's going to experience this union. Everybody's going to have the opportunity to clear past, present, and future simultaneously. We are dissolving their AI bullshit fields, and it's going to happen, and it's breaking down. And I'm just like, thank you, everybody that does the work every single day. We were talking about this in class. People think, oh, I have to do this hard thing. I don't know how to meditate, and I can't do this. And how am I going to be of service? And it's so simple. I said, you wake up and show up. That's it. You wake up and show up. It's so simple. It's so simple.
Yeah, I never really, well,
Even if you have to take an extra minute.
Yeah.
I really underestimated the saying of, you change others just by changing your energy, because I think definitely for a decent portion of your spiritual journey, there's still a lot of ego involved, into I know I was very like the glamorous psychic experience, starseed experience, this unique being.
Rainbows coming out your butt, glitter going everywhere.
Yeah. So
Those bundles.
it's yeah, just by being around, eventually you get to a point where you understand, and it's usually not for a good way, right? Or not in a good way, that your energy is affecting others, because usually it's when your energy is upsetting the shitty energy around you.
Yeah.
Oh, Cindy said she bought the book that we're in.
She bought our book.
Oh my gosh. No. Okay, so super crazy. I had a dream surrounding certain individuals. I'll have to share this later because I don't remember enough details to have a full conversation about it. So all it's going to be is just like me talking shit, which I'm sure everyone would love to hear, but I don't want to promote this level.
It's not very starseedy of you, Kaisa.
It's not.
Oh dear. Yeah, you guys, I think we, like the three of us, should write a book, right? Like,
Definitely.
We should. We got some crazy ass dreams coming out,
It's
girl.
like so different, but like we're like a Venn diagram, but with the three circles, like we all have like our own overlaps but different ways. So you guys, we were talking about this, or we just sort of mentioned the terms in passing, but I know that recently the three of us stumbled across the victim victimizer article on the Ascension glossary, and how there's this red cube technology. So
yeah.
I did this session for my friend just, what day is it? Yesterday. And it was so interesting. A part of me that likes to remain neutral and objective says, am I only seeing this cube now that I, know what to look for? And then the other part of me says, no, you're trying to interpret what you're seeing. And when you don't know what to be looking for, those holograms get in the way. And so it's so interesting. I literally saw, I don't know, maybe we should give a definition of it. I don't have it pulled up, but I'm going to give you my definition of it, and I hope it's at least.
well, I saw this. I've been seeing this red cube for like a year connected to Saturn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not the black cube. Was it you that I did a session with also, Amaria? And I was like, it's a red cube.
You did.
And I said, it's not the black cube. It's red.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew what it was.
You saw the Nubian
part.
Black cube. And then you said like my crystal aegis was like all of my gems were put different places.
Yeah.
So I had to locate all of my gems, bring them back on, reconstruct my crystal shield.
Yeah.
Which it's amazing because like at the time, from late August to I was hitting Lisa's stuff so hard. It's like during work, literally the whole time I was working, that's what I was doing, was listening while I'm cleaning these. So like 30, 40 hours a week, just cramming. It's like so much just from what you were saying. I'm like, oh my God, I know how to fix this, and this is the right meditation to do. And then like, oh, now I know how to use these codes. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think Lisa just now like discovered it, or just now put it in the dictionary or the glossary, because I'd never seen it before. I'd never heard anybody talking about it. And
it wasn't there.
Yeah, it's new.
Right?
And I think it's just now.
There's a whole page on it that I didn't see before. Before, when I found it, it was only in the other pages, because I just pulled it up. And okay, let me try and see if I can pull up just the baby
It definitely needs to be dismantled. And it can be dismantled,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. So do you want me to read what it is?
yeah, because it's important. Like this has been around for a while. It's just not been exposed.
Yeah, this was
People
huge.
can't see it.
Yeah, because I'd love to share, after I tell this, read the description, I'd love to share how I saw it. And it's just, I'll get into it in a second. Okay, so red cube technology, if you guys go to the victimizer on the Ascension glossary, which is basically the shortest version, is just like an enslavement of being in the victimizer dynamic. So the red cube technology is designed to be genetic code crusher for anti-herogamic union to create interference through the alien love bite scenario. So it's something I know, like I have
A lot
experienced
about.
like my entire life up until last year. That engages the person in heavy emotional dramas via victimizer archetypes and mistaken identity. And what's so interesting is when I first read this, like I went to read it to my friend again, and I couldn't find this one part that's coming up. By keeping the inner and outer gender principles split apart. Okay, so it capitalizes on painful emotional astral damage and mistaken identity and confusing identities so that the target cannot tell who is who. False timelines and imposters versus the authentic identity. I used to read these things and like I could not process all of this information at once. Like Chastity would send me all these articles and they're amazing. I was like, I can't read this. My brain hurts. So I feel like I'm probably reading this and people are like, yeah, you lost me. So basically how I see this is if you literally picture like a red cube that is, some sort of negative AI and it's hooked into your energy system, I literally see where like it's almost like it comes out like a flower and all these different mirrors are around the person. And maybe it's not a mirror, but it's a hologram. And so you're looking at yourself or you're looking at whatever the projection is. So when it's tying into the love bite, you see a partner, and because I think it gets into like false twin flames, like thinking that this person is that the love bite is your twin flame, right? So you're supposed to do all this hard work because it's going to be worth it in the end. And I know I was in that one, and then realized like, no. Did I grow from it? Yes. I'll leave it at that. So it's so interesting because, you feel that it is a part of yourself. And especially when you're on your ascension path, like it takes a really long time to be able to see this. And you often learn the hard way that this is what's going on. And so I was able to shut this down and dismantle this for my friend, because she knew that, this partner that was showing up wasn't right. And she, like, when I showed her the alien love bite articles, she would like have dreams of sort of the next one in line that they're trying to convince her to find. And she was like, no, I'm not doing this. And so I was able to shut it down.
Nancy Sophia is posting some stuff in the chat if you guys want to take a peek, or in the thread.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Like how it's running, how it runs its circuit. It almost looks like, so it looks like it runs, and this is curious because I have another client that is, we've been running a microcosmic orbit scan, right? Which you want to do to clear those governing channels, right? And so it looks like this is like running in this thing. I just love, first of all, let me just say, I love Lisa Renee's work. I love the language she uses.
Amazing.
And it's fine. I feel like finally somebody's talking about Azazel, because that's the bastard that I was bound to when I was born. So I know this gestalt, however you want to say that, like my whole life. That's the demon that I've been tracking and that has been tracking me, that I have been bound to. So I'm like, finally, people are coming to the conclusion that it's not all just, no Thother.
Like she puts words of meaning to everything that I've been doing all my life, and then just building the trainings and things like that. It's like amazing how not only put words and things that it's like it, because now it's not only you've got meaning to it, but your confidence is boosted. And it's like every time I do a session, I'm looking at stuff and I'm boundary testing and myself shielded and grounded. I'm just like, I know is what it is, and I'm just gonna call it. And it's like I go with that gut feeling every time, and it's so much easier to follow spirit and follow the guides. And I'm just blown away with every session I'm doing, and it's so humbling.
Mhm.
I cannot speak enough about Lisa's work as well. I just absolutely adore what she's done, and I
Yeah.
just feel so blessed
Yeah.
and honored that I was to this stuff. Like I'm very grateful for the friends that have brought me to that.
When we find our people and we find our language, then it makes sense, right? It takes a while to
Yes.
put the language together. Kaisa, did your friend, was she able then, like, did she immediately feel better and feel like the siphon was gone? Because it's like a sexual siphon too, right?
So
So,
she felt like she
Yeah.
was like, she's very strong-willed, and it was really interesting because it was like she was able to create her own bubble of protection within her shield. So
mm,
she was in this safe sort of stasis space, but I still, needed to clear everything and sort of coach her through that. But like she's made a lot of progress. She cut a lot of cords. She had, these negative relationship dynamics popping up again, and she contacted me in regards to the session like a couple weeks ago, and this popped up, and it's been, just we've been missing each other, it just hasn't lined up. And she realized it was because she needed to learn and actually put into some practice these things that, she knew she needed to do. So she
mhm.
was able to sort of like get the weeds trimmed, and then I went in and, sort of shook up the whole garden. But it's interesting, I was just talking about how, sometimes I wonder, like, am I just getting the answers because I'm reading them, like, is that why I think it's true? But um my guides showed me this like example. I don't know if anyone's seen New Girl, but they have this game called Feely Cup where like you put some really weird shit in a cup, and someone has to close their eyes and like figure out what it is. And like one time it was like a battery and like a tampon wrapped in like duct tape with like baking
Weird.
soda around it or something, like it's really bizarre combinations.
Okay.
But my guides were like, what if you don't, like, what if something's in the cup and you have no context for it? So it's like, Lisa's work gives us the context for what we're looking at. We're then able to discern and dive
Right.
in and feel these different things.
Yeah, I agree. That's a perfect
I love that.
analogy. Yeah. I remember when I found her work, it was like when I was teaching like the SUI master, like master teacher stuff, right? And my guides were like, yeah, we're gonna do something different with you, right? Like if we're gonna, if we're gonna be teaching, which is what we're gonna do, then I'm gonna have to. That's when everything changed. I had been teaching, what was it, for like a whole year, Kaisa? And then after that, and I was like, sorry guys, like they're taking me on a whole, I'm going
Yeah,
down
it
a
was
whole nother
great.
journey. Like I was like, we have to, I had to go back and apologize to some of my students and say, okay, there are some things here that I've not shown you correctly. And I apologize for that. We're going to have to
Everything
backpedal.
shifted. Like they were
So
like, oh, okay, finally we can do this. Because I remember like we were connecting with the archangels at one point and getting a
yeah,
feel for their energy.
yeah. And, like all this stuff. And I remember all these other codes and different things. And some people could do some and some couldn't do others, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, we're done letting you play in the astral realm, it's time to come out. Now we're gonna go do something else. And I was like,
Done with
okay
preschool.
guys, I'm
Time
done.
for kindergarten.
We're done with the little manipulatives, right? Now it's time for our university. So yeah, and I just I'm just uh bless Kaisa for standing by me the whole time, because she was like one of like the first, one of the first ones to like, hey, help me pave the way and understand how I was going to teach and what I was going to teach and how was it coming through. And
It never felt that way to me. Like it was just so great. I was so excited every time. I never once was like, man, that was a little rough. Like, I don't know. We'll have to see how this goes. No, every class I was like, fantastic.
thank you. That's good. That's good news. But me, every time I was like, how you go to classes and you get like the outline and you know what you're going to be studying and people write
Right.
these books. That's not how it is for me. They're like, no, you're going to sit down and then we're going to talk like once we sit down. Like
Well, and
everyone's
isn't
like, what
that
are we
sort of the
learning
point,
today?
though, that structure that doesn't work for this. We need to be adapting to what, the individuals that are coming to us. Like, like my friend, when she first contacted me, I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on with her energy and what she needs. 2 weeks later, it was totally different story. Like, farther down the road, but
Yeah.
totally different intersection.
It changes. It really changes what we need. And I remember when I was in massage school, they would want me, well, I already had been doing like Reiki and, other energy healing and stuff, and I could see what was in people's bodies. And they would say, my teacher would say, you need to write a plan. Like you have to do your soap charts and you have to write a plan for what you're going to do and what the outcome, projected outcome is going to be. And I'm like, well, I can't do that because when I touch the person, it's going to be totally different. And there was just like and I'm so stubborn, right? And I'm just like, no, that's not how it works. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do because it's going to change. And
Right, like, should we
finally,
be adapting?
I'm like, right? I'm like, so what do you just want me to like lie on the paper then? Is that what you're asking me to do?
Yes.
And so, I mean, I was just such an ass. I'm probably like one of the worst to
This is why I can't go back to school.
Oh, I love it. I know, right?
So anyway, I ended up I would have to be like, okay, well, I'm going to touch this muscle, and that's supposed to happen. But then I'd write like a little note. I promise you now, this isn't how it's going to go. Right. So
That was like in art history
I love
class.
it.
Anytime our teacher would be like, yeah, they carved like, what was it, like that one Roman temple or cathedral where like all of the columns are in, like, they had to build them in little individual sections stacked on top of it's like each piece is completely different from any other piece. Like there's no other way that you can stack it. It somehow like stands perfectly, but like if you rearrange them at all, it wouldn't work. And I was like, obviously this was, I mean, at the time I just put like aliens, but like my mom was taking the class with me and she'd like look over and be like, what'd you say for it? And I was like, aliens. Like this was not like, if we don't have the technology now, this is some other shit. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, oh, I think that they spent like 1,000,000 years. No, clearly they're onto some shit that we are without right now.
Yeah, exactly. April is saying, you're awesome at healing and do such an amazing job just jumping from thing to thing and place to place. Oh, she was saying the sessions change as you go on. No, that can't be. She's like, it's perfectly structured, but that's me. I'm like, wait, are we doing no? Hold on, let's back up. We're going to go somewhere else. Let's go into this dimension. You guys, for the listeners, you guys go to, April makes amazing products. I'm actually waiting for mine to come in. I'm like, I need protection and I want to look like feel pretty. So she's an amazing alchemist. Go to wolfanddragonapothecary.com and we're actually going to have her on the show. We're just going to be nailing down a time here pretty soon to have her on the show and talk about some really cool stuff. But wolfanddragonapothecary.com. I can't wait till my stuff gets here. It's in the mail.
I recently got, I spoke with her about what I wanted. She sent me like more than I could have asked for, but I got this amazing like custom protection spray, which I think is on the site now. It's like the Nebula one. So
like is that's the one you got?
Huh?
You got the Nebula one?
She made it for me.
You guys, we can spray our computers with it and nobody will see us.
Oh, just so you know, if you do spray it on anything, like I noticed that whatever the oils are, they do leave a little film. So like I have to go and clean everything if it's not a fabric.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But I love it. And I have my like soul healing roller ball, my love and peace roller ball, and my warriors relief roller ball. So when I wake up from like getting attacked in my sleep, I like take that warriors and like go back to sleep.
I need something to spray myself before I go to bed at night, right?
I do them both before I go to bed, but
oh my god,
I'm tired. I miss stuff.
I smell people cooking downstairs. We must be. Well, if anybody has questions, feel free to like type them out, give us a shout out. We want to keep things short so we don't get too boring to listen to, right? And
I'm also I have like a real job now and I have to get up early.
Nice.
Yeah,
I still have my real job working at home with people. I love the field work, you guys. Like, I can't believe what's happening. Like, for real, things are being dismantled. Like like shit's happening and I'm so jazzed about it. I love looking at my schedule and just going, oh yeah, look what I get to do today. So excited.
That's awesome. It
I know.
it has been really a blessing to get more, because I love doing session work well, and so it's amazing just seeing all of us blossom and bloom and being able to, help more people. And so, and I see that happening more as, the year goes. I think that
Definitely.
we're definitely going to help a lot more. And one thing that I love about that is I'm noticing that each time I do a session with someone, I'm learning so much about myself.
Yeah.
I mean, just yesterday doing a mini session on a 4-year-old that was having some lung issues.
Mhm.
His energy was so powerful. I'm just like, oh my God, I just felt like I was touching an angel, literally. And I was shaking. It was so amazing. But just feeling the energy of this 4-year-old. Wow. I mean, I'm very touched that I'm allowed to do this kind of work. And not saying it like I'm this bad person or anything, because I know who I am. I understand that. And I step into that energy with humility. I also realize that, wow, where I've come from to where I am now, it's very humbling, and it gives me much hope for people that are struggling with those traumas.
Yeah.
I just keep coming back to that, just because I have so much hope for humanity.
Yeah.
And sometimes I listen to people how they're, well, this and that's horrible about the world, but what's good about it, guys?
Right.
What can you find that's amazing, and that there's so much love? And look around, and it's like when you're looking for that, like, say you want to get a Jeep someday, and that's all you can see now is the Jeeps, because you're focused on that. Focus on what's good, and you're gonna see the good amount instead of the shit show. Yeah, there's a shit show. There's always been, from time beginning. But if we're gonna focus on the shit show, that's what we're gonna keep getting, is a more show. I
That's
want
how
to
I ended up
focus
with a
on,
new
gratitude.
car just the other day.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
like, I
I
told
love that.
myself that this was like a dream car that I would need to be making more money for, not knowing that, because it's an older model, they don't make it anymore, not really thinking about the fact that its, value could be comparable to the car that I had. And then like I kept seeing all these car commercials for like, trading in your cars, like the Carvana stuff. And I was like, okay, let me just see what mine's worth. And it just got me looking. And I said, well, maybe I'll do it if I like I can't just trade in my car for something that's going to be equal value. I need to only do it if I'm going to save money or something. And so that's what got me into it. And then it was like an even exchange, and now I'm so happy and I feel so safe, and I feel like I can manifest so much from this, sort of upgrade in my life, even though it was on the same playing field. And it's interesting because people look at me differently and they think that all my problems are gone because I got this new car. I'm like,
Isn't that funny?
not even like it's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
But talking about how we get to work on more people, I really thought that, coming out of my COVID experience, that I
We need a t-shirt for you, like COVID relief, or
COVID
like
survivor.
COVID survivor. Like,
I survived COVID with like a little swish under it. And then on the back, it's like, but I'm still
you guys, I don't, if anyone knows, we're gonna like the three of us are gonna have like a t-shirt thing, and our
we are.
proceeds are gonna, they're gonna do something fantastic, right? But so I think we're gonna do like COVID survivor t-shirts. Like this is, put it on the list, Kaisa.
So
Put it,
It's on there. I'm gonna add it. Where's my phone?
just put it on the list because it's a must-have.
But since I did that, I picked up this job, that I thought was going to be I can set my own schedule. So I thought it would just sort of be transitional until I started building up my own clients doing energy work full time. But, I'm doing a few sessions here and there, and I'm just even doing artwork here and there. And like my energy isn't at that, it's not at a sustainable level for that yet. And so I'm actually really excited to, what'd you say?
because of the COVID.
because of COVID. My energy's not there yet. I'm still in recovery.
I love it.
It's so funny how long this joke goes on for 6 months almost. But
Oh,
I'm
that cracked
really
me up.
excited to be stepping into like teaching and moving from these temporary sub positions to actually teaching students. And first I was like, well, I want to be teaching them something important, but then going back to just having your presence, I connect with the kids without having to really speak with them. I can just sort of give them a look and like an eyebrow raise, and we get it. And it's really, because it's difficult for them. Like, it's kind of sad, the state of schools. I don't care if you think that it's necessary or not. That's not what I'm getting at. I just think that the reality of it is sad. The small children and the older children, I just see it's so different in all the schools, elementary, middle, and high school. It's changed the way these kids live their lives and are motivated. And it's very interesting. That's the last time I'm saying it.
That's another t-shirt.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Okay,
I love that the kids have you. I just love that they have you. And, having, 3 kids still in school, right? Like, I see what it's doing to them, and it's just, I can't stand it. I just think it's a great disservice. Our superintendent,
the teachers
really
hate it too.
well, some of them do, but then some of them hide behind the teachers union. And
Yeah.
we're really battling with some crazy stuff out here in our district. And we have, I'm not going to say anything, so I don't have anything nice to say. So I'm going to just zip it. But it's not nice out here. That's all I have to say. So that's all I have to say. Well, gosh, ladies, I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming in and listening to us tonight. We're going to be here every Monday night. We weren't here last Monday night. We took a little break. I think everybody was just so under the weather. You could just forget it. Like, it wasn't going to happen. So.
No, Zach's in the background being a weirdo.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh.
And my children.
We love you, Zach.
Anyway, I want to send you guys so much love. Yeah. He should just come on. He's going to have to come on. We'll do a man night. And he can come in and
give him like a couple, like a month or two.
He can talk about his protein powder.
There we go.
I think Bang is so gross.
Oh dear.
I can't.
I'm sending you guys so much love.
Yes, you too.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Sorry, I just like totally spaced out. But yeah, I love you guys. And retrograde, the shadow period will be over on the 25th, and then the post shadow will be over March 13th. So expect some shit by the 26th.
Expect the unexpected.
Rocky. And then by the 13th, you should feel that breath of fresh air, and things should be rolling again.
Thank you for that. I know that the pre and post hit you the hardest.
I hate the post shadow period.
Oh my God.
Don't care. Post shadow period, hate it.
Oh my goodness. All right, you guys. We'll disconnect and we'll say hasta la vista, baby. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.